I never deceive anyone. Aurora Shen had eaten, drunk, admired the castle's night scenery, and yawned softly behind her hand on a tall bar stool. It was time to go home. She glanced around the banquet hall but couldn't find Professor Adam anywhere. Forget it, she thought. He already brought her to this event. She couldn't possibly trouble him to drive her back. She quickly texted him to say she was leaving early and that he didn't need to worry. After sending the message, she grabbed her clutch and slipped out through a side door where fewer people passed. Outside, the night had grown bitingly cold. The thin dress she wore did nothing against the wind. Every breeze made her shiver. Once she stepped out of the perfume and wine-scented banquet hall, the mountain air immediately became dense, icy, and quiet. She inhaled deeply. A peaceful life like this suited her far better. Just as she left the castle grounds, 2 security staff approached, asking if she needed assistance. Aurora wanted to ask if they could drive her down the mountain only to learn they didn't have a vehicle, and it wasn't part of their job anyway. Luckily, the castle wasn't too far from the base of the mountain. A 30-minute walk down the main road would get her back to Florence. Unfortunately, it was long past the last bus, and the metro was out of the question, which meant she would have to take an outrageously expensive taxi. God, she had already blown nearly €1,000 on this outdated dress. Now she had to spend a fortune on a late-night taxi. After 10 p.m., the surcharge kicked in. She didn't even want to imagine the bill. If she weren't wearing heels, she might have considered going barefoot. But in this cold, with strappy open-toe stilettos clearly designed by someone who hated women, every step felt like torture. Her toes kept sliding forward, forcing her to grip the soles with every step just to stay upright. Utter misery. Even Jimmy Choo probably never imagined someone wearing his shoes to hike down a mountain. Just when she was debating whether to take them off, a pair of headlights suddenly flashed behind her. Her instincts kicked in. She pressed her back against the stone wall. Terrified the driver wouldn't see her and send her rolling off a cliff. Italy had no shortage of those tragic news stories. She very much valued her life, but the car didn't pass her, it slowed, and stayed behind her. Its lights illuminated the road ahead of her, as if guiding her. Then the headlights dipped from hivim to low. If this were a romance drama, this would be the dramatic entrance of the male lead. But this was Italy. On a mountain road, at 11 at night, a dozen crime scenarios flashed through her mind instantly. Fantastic. Of all nights, she had switched bags and forgot her Swiss Army knife. Forcing herself to stay calm, she immediately searched for a weapon. The sharp heel could definitely stab someone in the eye hard enough for her to escape. She braced herself. Then a familiar voice called out behind her, "Miss Shen." Aurora froze and turned instinctively. The headlights were blinding. She lifted a hand to shield her eyes. When her vision adjusted, she finally saw the man behind the wheel of the sleek black convertible. Dark wind-tousled hair, deep, seductive, almond-shaped eyes under a warm golden glow. Adrian Wu, he gave her a gentle smile. "Sorry, did I scare you?" He stepped out slowly, one hand resting on the car door. His dark shirt sleeves were rolled up, revealing a gold watch and the lean, sculpted muscle beneath the fabric. The light from inside the car cast a soft glow across his impossibly handsome face, refined, aristocratic, effortlessly magnetic. A man made to be admired under moonlight. A single gesture from him could make anyone fall. Now that she recognized him, Aurora straightened up and flashed a bright smile still tinged with lingering fear, but also genuine delight. "Mr. Wu, it's you." She loosened a few strands of hair, letting her pale neck show subtly. Her curls fell over one shoulder, and she tucked the rest behind her ear. Stepping closer to him, she tilted her body, just slightly allowing the soft curve of her silhouette to glow under the car lights. Not on purpose, but irresistibly alluring. Before leaving earlier, she had sprayed perfume on her hair, her collarbone, her wrists. Now warmed by her skin, the scent emanated gently. Adrian had seen all her little tricks before, but her beauty still made him pause for a brief 2 seconds. His gaze dropped to her heels. He chuckled. "You were planning to walk home in those..." And what if I was hoping for you to drive me instead? She teased softly. He looked at her, lips curving. What if I said I followed you, just to give you a ride home? Aurora's smile deepened. She didn't hesitate. She opened the passenger door and slid gracefully into his car. After all, she had zero intention of stumbling down the mountain or paying 20 euros for a taxi. Men, sometimes, existed for one purpose: to be useful. After all, men always seemed to want to play the hero. Miss Aurora, do you live in the city center? Aurora Shen let out a soft her voice obedient and sweet. Near San Marco. When Adrian Wu didn't respond for a while, she thoughtfully added, as if worried she might trouble him. If it's not on your way, Mr. Wu, then it's not a problem. He didn't look at her. One hand rested steadily on the steering wheel. The other elbow leaned casually against the window frame. His lips curved lazily as he replied, I was just thinking how coincidentally convenient it is for me to go your way. Convenient. His ability to lie without blinking truly deserved an award. Aurora remembered clearly what she'd read on those gossip dossiers. Adrian Wu lived in Brera, Milan, the kind of neighborhood where even the air felt expensive. A luxury apartment right in the heart of the city. And right now, they were in Florence. 2 hours away from Milan. Convenient, huh? But of course, she had no intention of exposing him. Really? What a coincidence. Her eyes sparkled as she gazed at him, as if genuinely moved by such fate. Then she turned her head, murmuring softly, That's really good then. She intentionally lowered her voice, slow and breathy, giving the illusion she was talking to herself. Adrian chuckled under his breath. What did you say, Miss Aurora? He had obviously heard it. She knew he had obviously heard it. Yet she lowered her lashes, feigning shyness. It's nothing. Adrian tilted his head slightly toward her, his eyes sweeping over her face with a patient, almost indulgent interest. The car slowed a little, as if he were giving her space to continue her performance. Outside the window, shadows of trees slid backward. Moonlight washed everything in a silvery glow. It was the kind of atmosphere where one could easily be swept away by a handsome face like Adrian's. At least, if she hadn't noticed the flashing notifications on his phone placed face down on the center console. It never stopped lighting up. Not just WeChat, Instagram, WhatsApp, too. So busy. Even if she hadn't seen his phone, Aurora would never fall for someone like Adrian Wu. She had a very firm stance on men like him, and, as always, reality proved her instincts were right. Fun, sure, feelings, never. The notifications kept flashing. A few calls even came through, one from a woman named Anna. Aurora had no intention of paying attention. Eyes forward, nose indifferent, mind detached. But then, she sensed Adrian's glance from the corner of his eye, as if he were testing her. If she remained completely unaffected, it would only prove she had zero interest in him. And a man as arrogant and self-assured as Adrian Wu would never allow himself to misread a woman's intentions. Until he understood a woman's level of interest, he would never make a risky move. Aurora thought for a moment. If she truly liked someone, this would be the moment she pretended to be aloof. She was complicated like that, never wanting her feelings to be seen so easily, but right now, Aurora lifted a brow, turned to him, and let her gaze drift from his phone to his face. Her tone carried a hint of reproach. Mr. Wu is really busy, isn't he? Still handling work this late? Adrian leaned forward, picked up the phone from the console, cast a quick glance at it, and replied, Didn't you want the authorization for the poem of the crown? Aurora's heart tightened sharply. He lifted the phone slightly. I already had someone ship it from the US. Aurora froze completely. There was no romantic element involved, but at that exact moment, Adrian Wu might as well have been the most devastatingly handsome man on earth. Her heart thumped wildly. Really? The dim light from passing street lamps reflected in her eyes, scattering tiny shimmering ripples. Her lashes fluttered like a clever little fox, unable to hide its joy. She was still so young, Adrian thought. Young enough that he could read every thought on her face, every ambition and desire glowing plainly in her clear eyes. But that was what made it amusing, charming, even watching her create these harmless little deceptions just to please him. At the very least, she was trying to win his favor. Adrian let out a low chuckle, his voice smooth and layered, with a meaning she couldn't quite grasp. Of course, I never lie to anyone.